Today I want to speak about traits of a good husband. God, He has advice for every situation in life, and many of you are watching this video. Of course, many of you are women, and maybe you're looking to marry someone and you need some advice on how to recognize if someone is from the Lord. What are the traits that a future husband should have? And some of you are probably husbands or want to get married as well, and you ask yourself, okay, what kind of characteristics do I have to develop? What does God want me to do? This video is the answer for those questions, and I want to start with the first trait of a good husband, which we can find in 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 3. The head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is man, and the head of Christ is God. This verse here is often put out of context. Many people, when they hear that, they think, okay, the man has every right to tell a woman what to do, what not to do, and how she has to live, and she has to submit herself like a slave. It's not like that. It's really not like that. It's speaking about spiritual authority. Pay close attention. The head of every man is Christ. You know what that means? A good husband has to submit himself to Christ. So this is also one reason why you should not marry with someone who is not of the same faith. If the head of a woman is the man, and the man is not submitted to God, that's headless leadership. This verse here is speaking about leadership, about spiritual authority. And in life, when you go to certain things, there's situations where you have to use your head, spiritually speaking. And if you cannot think spiritually, if you cannot see things from a perspective that God wants you to see things, you will not be able to react accordingly. So therefore, a man, of course, he has to be a good leader. He has to not only lead his wife, his kids, things in his life, himself as well. And you can only do that if you're under the leadership of God, if you're listening to God. If you take a look at the biblical stories, for example, all those great prophets like Moses and Joseph, for example, they had families, but God spoke to them. Many people who had families, God actually spoke to them. Like Lot also. Lot was a very prosperous man who also went through a tough trial, but God spoke to him. God did not spoke to his woman. Why? Because the man is the leader. Does not mean that God does not speak to women. God speaks to everyone. God speaks to absolutely everyone. But you have to be a leader. You have to be able to lead as a man. And women actually subconsciously, they want to be led. They want to be led. There's certain things that they naturally want to rely on when it comes to their husband. So they await some sort of reliability, and you can only have that reliability. You can only rely on someone if that person relies on the Lord. That's it. That's basically it. So if you want to go through life well and you want to do well, you can only do so by the leadership of God. And the man is the head of the household, and if the household is not listening to the Lord, you see a lot of chaos. This is actually one reason why you see so many unequally yoked marriages, unequally yoked relationships, where there's absolute chaos in the household, because the man is not being led by the Lord. It's as easy as that. Second trait of a good husband. 1 Timothy chapter 5 verse 8. But if anyone does not provide for his relatives, and especially for members of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. A good husband, a man of God, has to be a provider, has to be a diligent worker, has to be someone who looks after his loved ones. So with being a good husband, there comes responsibility. There comes a lot of responsibility. God awaits you to provide for your family. And of course, you can always count with God when it comes to that. I can guarantee you something. Maybe there's some of you who are watching this video who are maybe in a tough situation and are asking themselves, okay, what can I do to provide to my loved ones? God is going to open all the doors. If you submit to Him, if you're willing to listen to Him, you should not be concerned about that. God is going to open those doors, but you have to be proactive. You have to go after those doors. You have to prepare yourself. I mean, if you're young, if there are young people watching this, if you're like in your teenage years, and even if you are in your 20s or if you are older, that doesn't matter. We can always improve. You can always, for example, take a course or read books or do something, or start a new venture if you want to start a venture, or improve your professional life in some way or the other. Opportunity is everywhere, and with God, opportunities are endless. But you have to be proactive, and you have to be the breadwinner of your house. That's actually what the Lord awaits from you. And yes, this is a very important one. This is a very, very important one, because it can also be a reason why some families get destabilized. I've seen some cases of destabilized families because the leader of the household, he hasn't done enough to provide, although he could. And that's actually a pity. That's actually being unfaithful to God. Laziness is being unfaithful to God. You cannot be lazy, believe me. Third trait of a good husband, 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 8. Above all, love each other deeply, because love covers over a multitude of sins. Many people think that love is a feeling. Love is butterflies. No, that's not love. Love is not a feeling. You can feel passion. You can feel loved, of course, but love is actually a decision. One thing is absolutely certain. Everyone does mistakes. You do mistakes. I do mistakes. We're not exempted from doing mistakes. And when you're married, you're gonna do mistakes. Your wife is going to do mistakes. Your kids are going to do mistakes. And you have to be able to forgive quickly. You have to be able to let go quickly of, for example, of offenses or of conflicts, of whatever. Because the thing is, when you love someone, you cannot be angry for very long. It does not work. And love is a decision that you have, well, that you take in your heart. You actually decide in your heart, okay, I'm going to love this person. I'm not going to love this person. I'm going to be adverse to this person. That's something you decide. Often consciously. So people think it's subconsciously. No. I would say it's consciously. People decide that consciously in their hearts. And of course, I mean, many think that love is a feeling, and they let their marriage crumble, they let their relationship with their loved ones crumble, but it's not a feeling, it's a decision. Some people have a very hard time looking at the qualities of others, but I mean, don't always look at the negative. God has put this person in your life for a reason, and one way or the other, this person is a blessing. So think about the good things of your husband, of your wife, of your kids. Think about their qualities. Don't always focus on their faults, and love them, forgive them quickly, because we also need to be forgiven. Some people, I've seen that in many situations actually, they have a hard time forgiving others because they think that they're perfect and they do not need to be forgiven. And that's actually a huge misconception. We all need to be forgiven. So if there's a problem, speak, solve the problem, pray, involve God in it, and don't let your heart become a storage, a depot of negative things, of resentment. Let go of that. Let go of that and love, forgive each other. Because if we do that, God also forgives ourselves. That's actually biblical. If you want to be forgiven by the Lord, you have to forgive others as well. So a good husband is forgiving, is kind, is not angry, is light-hearted in the sense of humble, All right, I hope this video has been a blessing, and if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing, hit that like button, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them here in the comments, and maybe I can do a video on the doubts that you have. And yes, see you on the next one. God bless you.